Hello, everyone, and welcome to another incredible episode of Empowered Conversations, where I have amazing conversations with extraordinary people who are all out in the world doing beautiful things in service to others, as well as just all around living their best lives. And that is none other than my guest today, Silvia Rios, who is a woman's empowerment coach. Sylvia is a transformational life strategist dedicated to helping women love who they see in the mirror. She believes beauty is a state of being and assists her clients to navigate their way to discovering and living it, embodying it, being it. Sylvia's professional career started as a scrub nurse in the OR and a holistic physical therapist. For the past 9 years, she has been for the past 9 years, Sylvia has been facilitating people through the many different modalities and tools that she uses in her life coaching practice. Sylvia is also an international best-selling author. I can't wait to hear about her books. She's got two out there right now. And she is the creator of the Sovereign Living Summit. So, guys, I am so freaking excited. Drum roll, please. Help me in Rios. Hey, girl.
Hello. Well, thank you for
How are
that
you?
introduction. So amazing and so excited to be here with you. I mean, your energy is just out of this world. So you are the
Oh,
embodiment of empowerment here.
thank you. Thank you. It's such an honor to have you here, Sylvia. It's such an honor. And it's so amazing how we connected. And I'm just so fascinated, like, just sitting here for a few minutes and talking with you, off the broadcast and getting to know you. I'm so inspired by your like take action way of how you've just like Katie bar the doggone door. I'm going for it. And I love it when I'm speaking with somebody. This is an empowered conversation. And I love that every one of the people that I speak with, they have this why of what drives them to be out here doing and in being in service to others through whatever unique tool and modality in which you're serving. And what I want to know is like, what epiphanic moments, what ahas, what experiences, what did you persevere through, overcome? Like, tell me about Sylvia and how you wind up here with the Sovereign Living Summit and being a woman's empowerment coach.
Well, the story is that we are put on this earth to go through some lessons and just
Hmm.
to create an evolution and just know that we're here to serve, to express ourselves. And in
Hmm.
this expression, we are serving others. So each person individually has a story, and their
Hmm.
story is basically their why. My why started coming from a family with a beautiful, beautiful mother who had a baby that was born too dark with a big nose and hair that didn't look pretty. So that mother, poor lady, she was embarrassed to have a baby that was not pretty. So she prayed to the moon every full moon that that baby would change the face and become pretty because otherwise she would not make it. So coming from that story, that
Gotcha.
baby, myself, I grew up feeling that there was something wrong with me because I was not beautiful. I was not having what I needed to have to succeed in this world, to be a wife, a mother, a woman that was looked after because there was no beauty there. So for many, many, many years, I grew up trying to prove myself and prove
Hmm.
my existence. So my mom used to say, you need to be smart because you're not pretty. So try to study. So thanks, mother, for insisting. So she made me learn several languages, and I got very good education,
Right.
and all of that helped me. So instead of taking that as something that was so so bad, it actually gave me something that made me be successful in other areas. But, when you are a teenager and you're a young woman, you compare
Mhm.
yourself and you want to be as pretty as everybody else. And if you don't feel that, then you consider yourself less than. And that was my story. So I had a big nose, and I was not a person. I was a big nose. So I always judged myself through my nose and because of my nose. So in my 20s, I decided to go and get cosmetic surgery. And I did not have the funds to choose a good surgeon. So I went just to the general hospital. I was born in Argentina. In
Mhm.
Argentina, cosmetic surgery is like going to the hairdresser. I mean, you get
Right.
a nip and tack every month because that's the norm. It's normal there. So
Yes.
anyway, I chose a surgeon who did a technique that was not approved, or it was not a good one. So after a couple of years, my nose fell because he did a technique that didn't put cartilage in the nose. I don't know. It was just different. Not to say that because I felt so vulnerable, I got an infection
Mhm.
right after the surgery and complications. And all of that has an emotional component because we are who we are because of how
Mhm.
we feel and how we are
Mhm.
inside. So if we don't feel that inside, everything outside is going to corroborate whatever is wrong. So
Right.
I was wrong. So I got a complication. I got a bad surgeon. I got a bad surgery. I got an infection. I got a lot of bleeding. Anyway, so what happened at the end? I needed to have that nose redone twice. And
Mhm.
with the scar tissue, I just have the same nose I was born with after all that trouble of trying to fix myself.
Right. Right.
So the story is that at some point, you have to decide that you are going to live, if you're going to live for approval of others, or if you are going to be in charge. That's where it comes the sovereign part. And just be in charge and decide what you make of your life with the tools
Right.
that you have and with everything else that is helping you to become more of who you are, because that's
Mhm.
what we do. We look sometimes for advice, sometimes we take classes, and sometimes it's okay to get pretty from the outside too, but not
Oh
to
yeah.
make that the thing that decides our worthiness. So we're not
Right.
worthy just because we got pretty. We're worthy
Mhm.
because we're worthy. And then when we get pretty and we feel pretty, then we are even prettier, even though the
Yes.
characteristics of the face might not be perfect.
Well, I think you're absolutely radiant and beautiful. I mean, your eyes are gorgeous. So I don't know what your mom saw, but that's on her that she felt that way about you. And who knows what she was seeing when she looked at herself in the mirror and didn't like. So she cast that upon you. But that is certainly not, in my opinion, your truth. I think you're gorgeous. Beautiful
Thank
skin,
you.
beautiful eyes, beautiful lips. Okay, but you are correct. Your beauty on the inside is what is even more radiant.
And for my mother,
Thank you
she
for
was,
sharing that.
yeah, my mother was on the blondish side. She had
Mhm.
lighter skin than I do. She had green eyes, and I look like my dad. So for her, beauty, she thought that would guarantee me happiness. But she
Mhm.
knew it was not true. So at the same time, she was insisting that I get education. And I just love
Yeah,
that
well, that's
part of
definitely
her
important.
because she wanted
Mhm.
me to learn languages. And I did. So now I can speak 4 languages and then I can talk to anybody and I feel radiant and I overcame everything that was put as a program. And now I can empower women and especially young girls that are trying to
Mm.
define themselves by how they look. And
Mhm.
there is a message here. The message is first, you be the beauty. and then you can have that beauty looking on the outside.
I
So
love that. That's a quotable moment. First, you be the beauty. I love
right,
that.
because we are used to have something and do something to be something, but actually, if we do the reverse, if we are, then we
Hmm.
can do, and then we can have. So then just
Yes.
following that sequence gives you more expansion in your life and more joy and more exuberance. And I believe that when
Yes.
you are in that space, you're in the space of bliss, because you're a being that is having a
Hmm.
body, and the body that we chose might not be perfect, but it's just perfect for what we are going to experience here. So let's acknowledge that what we have right now is exactly what we ordered. Before we took the
Hmm.
body, we ordered this body
Right.
exactly as it is. So that's my why, and why I like to empower women to
Yeah.
look at the beingness of everything. Also, is this acceptance,
Hmm.
because when we are in acceptance or allowance of what is, then we can receive more. I get
Yes.
sometimes people to do this exercise where you go in nature and
Uh-huh.
then you look at a flower, and then you project into the flower your thoughts, what you think of that flower, right? And are you judging the flower because the petal is a little, not okay, or because they are just about to die, because they are born and then they flourish, they bloom, and then they die. So are we judging nature the
Mhm,
same way that
mhm,
we judge ourselves or other people?
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Usually we don't. Do we want a Chihuahua to be a Frenchie or a French Bulldog or vice
Right.
versa? So
Yeah.
do we love them for how they are? And it's just this sense of knowing that all the projections that we put on the outside, even in the mirror, when we look in the mirror, are we
Yeah.
looking at
Yeah.
ourselves as the being,
Mhm.
radiant being that we are, or are we trying to find evidence that there is something wrong with us? So
Ooh. Ooh, I love that. That's another quotable moment. When we're looking in the mirror, are we trying to find the essence and beauty of who we are, or are we looking for something wrong?
correct.
Yeah.
Because if we got an idea in our heads, we're
Mhm.
always going to project that. We project our
100%.
thoughts. Yeah.
Mhm. I was
So
having this conversation with somebody this past weekend. Um, oh my God, there were these I was at this, the big food event, and there were these young people. They were probably between 18 and 21, I believe. And we were just having this amazing little conversation. And we were talking about like they were so self-aware that they were just like sponges and soaking up that concept of everything that's happening out here is not independent of what's going on in here. Everything that is happening, that however it is that we see the world, regardless of how that is, it is a direct reflection of what's going on in here and here.
yes. And so we have those mirroring neurons, right? And sometimes we mirror the outside, and sometimes the outside mirrors us. So we are
Yeah,
all just
but
one, and
always.
it's all connected, because sometimes our thoughts are not even our thoughts, are the thoughts
Right.
of the collective, and we just
Mm,
hear that. Or even when we get inspiration, we just, oh, I need to own this inspiration because I am the creator of that, when actually it was an inspiration that is coming, that it was in the collective. You
mhm.
close your eyes, you take a deep breath, and then all of a sudden you get that download. And that's your
Yes.
inspiration and your idea. And then you want to own it. Oh, let me
Yes.
patent it
Yes.
and I'll be the only
When
owner
it
of it.
feels good, when it feels good. And energy
Yes,
is energy. Energy is consistent. Energy is energy. I mean, and it depends on what you are vibrating. If you are in an elevated state of awareness and heightened, like elated excitement, let's just say elated excitement is a feeling, you are going to receive more of that matches that. But if you're in a low vibration, you're feeling down, like, I mean, think about it. Like you stump your toe, then you drop your glasses, then you run into to the door. Then you might have a, you might hear something or get into a negative, engage in a negative conversation or gossip. That's a low vibration. It's energy. Both are energy, but you attract more of how you're being. And something you just said, I wanted to hit on, but it's I wanted to ask you, have you ever heard of accessconsciousness.com?
Yes.
Oh,
I
okay, then
used
you
to be
know.
a facilitator many
Oh
years
my
ago.
God. Oh my God. Oh my God. So you know that who does that belong to? Send it back with consciousness attached. When you were talking about the energy of the collective, and sometimes, well, good or bad. I mean, and you either have to take ownership of the bad as well as the good, like you were saying, or just realize, that it's all just a state of vibration. And I know that I got myself into this habit, and because we could be in a great mood and then randomly encounter some form of energy, and then all of a sudden we feel negative and like, oh, but it's like, who does that belong to? Send it back. But again, consciousness with the healing.
Correct, correct.
Yeah.
So, because that's how things can shift only when they become conscious and you become aware of
Yes.
what that is.
Yeah.
We are bombarded by subconscious patterns and we live them as if we are the creators of that. So, who
Right.
created victimization? I didn't create it. That was an energy that was there, victim,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
victim and victimizer. So, am I the one that created that? No, that energy was here. And when I took this body, I got surrounded by people who were, running those patterns. And then I
Hmm.
lived my life either being the victim or the victimizer, or
Right.
it depends. There are so many subconscious patterns that we absorb and we think that we are
Hmm.
the creators. So now in my practice, what I am inviting people to know is there are patterns that we walk into and we live our lives from there,
Hmm.
but there is also a coding that we are born with, and it's
Hmm.
in our DNA. So are we at this moment being able to tap into that information and bring this coding out to live the life that is more
Hmm.
expensive and it's in choice?
Yes.
So that's the question. Can we tap into that information that we have in the body and just become those energies to have a life that is more powerful? So I'm all about being sovereign. Being
Hmm.
sovereign means, yes, I play the rules in this world
Hmm.
because I am
Hmm.
here. But at the
Hmm.
same time, I am the one that I am the creator of the reality. What timeline I am willing to step into. If I am not choosing, I am a victim. And if I am
Hmm. Hmm.
choosing, I could be the one making the choice. I could be the warrior that says, hey, I'm just going to go for it. Or I could be the sovereign that I am commanding that my reality fits and is in service, is in purpose. It's not about the
Hmm.
kingdom of me, it's just about everybody else.
Right. Right. Have you ever heard of Matt Kahn?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Then, well, you
You
remember,
have to ask me, what haven't I done?
girl, I love this. I love this because it's like, I'm just elated. But I'm reading his book, All for Love, right now, and I remember him. He was doing a live. This was about 6 or 8 months ago, and he was advertising for an upcoming event that he was hosting. But I remember him talking about the specific term that he used, or sentence, should I say, is "I respect your sovereignty." If someone is acting in a way that's hurtful, or in a, what we would consider negative or nasty or ugly, it's like when you separate yourself and from, it's not about you and it's about whatever, like your mother. Like, what sovereignty was she experiencing? What awareness was she experiencing that she had to, make you feel that you weren't good enough? So it's like, I respect your sovereignty because hurt people, happy people don't. And for her to cast that on her beautiful, beautiful child that she had brought and created, co-created, and brought into the world, it's like, where's the depth of pain, unfathomable pain
Well, my mom had a very sad story. She was like an orphan at 4 years
Mm,
old almost. You know, got married at 17, widowed at 19 with a son. I mean,
mm,
I in 2019 I did a fabulous trip with a group of healers in Bali,
mhm,
and one we saw so many healers, and one of them came with, he was so humble, and he just came with his little cane and
yeah,
his robe, and he gave us a talk. His English was not perfect, but he did extremely well.
mhm,
And he says it was a prayer and a meditation mostly about mothers. And
uh-huh,
he says, your mother did the best she knew.
yeah,
And I have heard
yeah,
this over and over for years, but I
mhm,
never got it until
yeah,
he said the way he did. Because he said he, your mother wanted, and he, not just for me, but I made it personal because it touched me so much, the message, but the message was for everybody who was in that
mhm,
group. Your mother taught you what she knew,
right,
and the fact that my mother didn't know any better doesn't make her a bad person, because
right,
she actually gave
right,
me something. She gave me tools to learn
mhm,
how to speak, how to be smart, how to study. I am a seeker. So she
mhm,
implanted in me so many other good things. And then it
mhm,
was my work and my job to take care of what was not the truth. And the truth is that we are all beautiful. So
yes,
she gave me a lie that was the lie that she lived by, but not because
yeah,
she wanted to hurt me. She just hurt me because she was hurt. Like you said,
right,
hurt
right,
people, hurt people.
right, yeah. That's such a beautiful story and profound that you're able to have the awareness around that, because think of so many people who aren't able to forgive the trauma inflicted upon them by another hurt person. It's always that's happening to me instead of through me. And I know you've heard this a million times, is that if you don't learn the lesson and evolve out of that particular energy, you're going to keep creating that situation over and over and over again, manifested in different, maybe different ways. But like for instance, I'm sure you've watched What the Bleep Do We Know? And almost in the beginning, he says, why do we keep recreating the same relationships, the same jobs, the same old over and over and over in our life in a world of infinite possibilities? It's because of how, of the awareness that you're allowing for yourself instead of expanding that, breaking the box down and being like, okay, what else is possible? That's another access consciousness. What else is possible? What else is possible? Because when you continuously ask that, it's amazing what then comes into your field of possibility.
Yeah, and what else is possible that I have never considered? Because usually
Mm.
we like to say, okay, I have another possibility, but we are allowing the law of probability and not the law of
Mhm.
possibility. So, in the law of probability, so what else is possible that I know of?
Mhm, mhm,
That I
mhm.
knew that it worked for somebody else, or that I saw that it was good, or that I judged as good, or something that I would like to manipulate and create. Versus when we go into what else is possible that I have never considered, then we are just opening into another realm of something that is coming to us that, hey, it was not in my awareness, but I am open to receive.
Yeah, have you read E Squared?
No, I have not.
That book, by Pamela Grout. E is like the letter E and then number 2, E Squared. And that book is okay, say for instance, one of the exercises, there's 9 different exercises, and one of the exercises is, "Today, I'm going to see red Suburbans." And it's amazing how when you might never have paid attention to a red Suburban because you drive a green Chevrolet, or a aquamarine Lamborghini. And all of a sudden you're saying, I'm going to see red Suburbans today. And it's amazing how all of a sudden red Suburbans are everywhere and you didn't have the awareness around it before. And it's little there's also the coat hanger where you're holding the coat hangers.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of this, and this shows you, it's proof that your energy, you are affecting your energy. So what you do is you hold them straight, and then you focus on something like that makes you just either joyful, loved, happy, whatever, and the coat hangers will naturally just like expand. If you think about something that's hurt you or painful or ugly or disgusting or just anything of a lower vibration, those doggone things will come together because you're contracting versus
Wow.
yes. So it's E squared. I highly recommend. I mean, I know you probably read many books like that. I've been reading books like that for 20 years. But it's another really good one with, you know, experiments.
So, I'm a graduate from the Life Transformed program, and I'm a Life
Love
Transformed
that.
coach. And one of the exercises that we do with my mentor and teacher, Rika Zimmerman, is that we go and we work with try to bend forks.
Yes.
So this is one that
Yes.
I bent once. I don't know if you can see it.
I can, girl. I can. Yes.
One of the things is about just becoming one with the energies, and
Mhm.
that's how you can affect the energies. But there is
Yes.
also, I don't know why I brought this up because you were talking about expansion and contraction. So
Yeah.
when you go into connecting with the metal, then you connect with the um, atoms and all the
Mhm. Mhm.
components. And so when you get in there, then you can expand or contract. But there is
Mhm.
also something that needs to happen, that is action. So every
Mhm.
time we talk about something and we say, oh, I would like that to happen, so I'm going to sit down and meditate about it. So the
Mhm.
first time I did this exercise, they gave me the fork
Mhm.
and I concentrated and I was one with the fork. I'm telling you, I was all there. But then I opened my eyes and the fork was still standing, nothing bent. And that's when I got that the inspired action is you still need to do something about it.
Right.
So when you have a goal and then you plan to do it, merging your energy with that thing that you would like to create, you also have to do something about it.
Yep.
And I just
Mhm.
always laugh.
Mhm.
I always laugh because when I opened my eyes, I was the only one that didn't do anything with the fork and was expecting the fork to be all bent. And it doesn't happen like that. So there is something that you also have to do. It's not just the intention, but it's the inspired action and doing something to get what you would like to get. And again,
Absolutely.
I don't know why I brought this up, but it just crossed my mind because it was funny.
Well, no, it makes perfect sense because because you're right. It's not about just sitting there and praying or meditating or wishing. You might, if it's really within your heart, if it's really something that you fervently, with every ounce of your being, want and desire, you've got to take that. Should fuel you to take action. You must take action. You can't just sit there but see. But I will say, don't you agree that, I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't, that a lot of that comes with how we're brought up to think that there's something outside of ourselves that's giving us something instead of it. Indeed, it is us that is creating.
Correct. And when we
Yes,
say prayer, it's like we pray to something outside of us. What
right.
what if we are the prayer?
We
So
are. We are. We are the
yeah.
prayer. 100%.
And so when we are the prayer, then we get all the resources to create that thing that we are asking
Yes.
for.
Yes, yes. Like I speak to my higher self. I'm like, higher self, but higher self is still me. It's just a higher consciousness that maybe my subconscious is more in tune with, if that makes any sense. So I'm like, higher self, clear the path, create that which I am to take right action on. That's I was at the beach last week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I was there specifically to take action, right, be in a meditative space, be in a creative space, around what my next steps were, action steps in alignment with my some of my big dreams and goals. And I was there actually to do a micro dose with psilocybin. And the little piece of chocolate that my girlfriend gave me that she got from somebody who makes, makes chocolates with mushrooms. Um, I don't think there was any psilocybin in it, but the fact that I was there with the intention gave me whatever clarity was necessary on what my next right steps were. And what I got was I'm already Stephanie and unicorns. There was this girl I shared her. I think I shared it the other day. When the universe presents you with unicorns, unique boom opportunities. It is up to you to take action. And I was presented with a unicorn a couple weeks ago, and like right before my beach trip, and I went. I'm a think fast, act quicker person. I don't wait. Not a lot of grass grows under my feet, especially I'm like, boom, take action. I'm like, I haven't even thought, like, boom, take action. And I took action and reached out to someone and, was like, hey, you want to do this? And he responded, I'm down. So, and it's a person I'm going to be having on Empowered Conversations. I'm not going to say the name yet, but holy cow, am I excited. But I could have been scared, like, oh, he probably won't. Well, hemmed and hawed and came up with every reason in the world why this person wouldn't want to come. And hell no. Wasn't he? I was like, boom, jumped on that unicorn. You
And
gotta
what
take.
I notice is that we are the ones that we are holding ourselves back into any opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I go into my reflection time, meditation time, it's like, so what's the timeline that I am choosing? Am I
Mm-hmm.
choosing from the old pattern of avoiding these or not receiving? Because one of the things that we are always asking for, even with the prayers asking
Mm-hmm.
to something outside of us,
Mm-hmm.
is we pray to receive.
Yes.
And the what people don't notice is that they are the ones stopping the receiving.
Yes. You have to open yourself up to receiving. If you're asking for something, ask yourself or allow yourself to have it.
And then all self-made people, and sometimes people with trauma, they don't know how to receive. So
Yeah.
because they don't know how to ask, they might feel like there's a disappointment that they don't want to go through if they get rejected or not
Yeah.
assisted. So then they don't know how to ask. And what
Mhm.
I recently noticed about myself is that I had the idea that only people who need are supposed to receive. So if
Mm-mm.
I don't
Mm-mm.
need, why should I be asking?
Right,
Why
right,
should
right.
so then I
That's a
was
limiting belief. That's a limiting
right.
belief.
And
Yeah,
I was always like, oh well, that person needs it most. So then I'm
right.
okay. I'm okay.
Mom, yeah, yeah, my mom, similar to your mother, was abandoned and was sent to an orphanage after being verbally abused by the people who cared for her when her mother passed away when she was only an 8-year-old little girl. And she is at the complete self-deprecation of herself at all times. I mean, it's like my daddy is so devoted and so enamored and in love with my mother, and he always, I mean, he has spent his entire pretty much almost an entire adult life caring for her and caring for her around her mental health issues. And I mean, everything from getting, like, when I'm like, we all went to dinner a few weeks ago, and I'm like, "Mama, get up front." She goes, "Oh, honey," and she looks at my daddy, "Hugh, do you want to get up front?" He's like, "No, you get in the front, queen." I mean, he didn't say it like that. That's my verbiage. I'm but he's like, "No, honey, no, D, get you." But she at every moment, and there was something happened recently outside of that where you can't pour. Women need to learn this because women are more, because we're always giving. You're giving at the complete expense of yourself. Well, you can't pour from an empty cup. And what you're teaching, because people don't do what you say, children don't do what you say, they do what they see. And you have to, like, the self-awareness, and like, I got to fill my own cup in order to fill my children's cup, my husband's cup, my mother-in-law's cup, my friend's cup. I have to fill my cup. That's why they say put your mask on first on an airplane, because if you're like so busy putting everybody else, trying to save everybody else, you might die. Then what good are you to anybody? Dead, because you didn't put
Right.
your mask on first. But that, as remedial of an example as it is, it's really not, because it is a life or death situation. You're killing yourself when you're not giving to yourself. It's not about being selfish, but it's about
Mhm.
taking care of self so you can care for others. And
Yeah,
people
Mark.
respect people. People
Yeah,
respect people who own it. I'm not talking about being selfish. I'm talking about own it, and then being able to share. You have a lot more to share when it comes from a filled cup.
I usually say that martyrdom is overrated.
Yeah, right. And it happens with guys. And I was on another podcast listening to these guys talk about. No, it wasn't a podcast. It was this guy talking about how, like, a lot of men he knows will be like, "Oh, nice guys finish last." No, nice guys, again, it's the nice guy finish last is the same thing as a woman completely exhausting herself at the giving to others at the expense of herself. And, like, no, it's when you act like a pussy. I'm just gonna say it, that women don't respect that. They don't want you to be an asshole. No, we're not talking about being an asshole, but we're talking about being like, just owning and having that presence of masculinity, that, like, and just owning your masculine energy, but not at the self deprecation of giving. Oh, women giving to women, giving. Nobody wants to sleep with me. I can't. Women don't want to sleep with me because I'm such a nice guy. Well, what are you? Because you're giving out of what you just said, martyrdom. It's martyrdom instead of, you know,
Yeah,
works both
and
ways.
but I think that when women don't like that is because at the same time women feel like they are being manipulated, because that niceness is not totally true. It's just
Thank
like,
you.
let me be nice so then you can accept me because I don't think I'm worthy or that big of a shot or whatever.
Right.
And we all have wounds. So that's not
Hmm.
to say that men should not have wounds. They
Right, right,
do.
right, right. 100%.
Um, and some men know how to work them, and some other men have a harder time looking for
Hmm.
ways to create more evolution in their personalities and their beingness. Sometimes it's a little harder for
Yeah.
men to look for that help. Yeah.
Because we're taught. It's the way we're subconsciously programmed from birth, and it's been going on for eons and eons and eons and eons. That men are supposed to be tough and emotionless, and women are supposed to be emotional. And we could dive real deep down to that, but we'll save that for another episode.
And what if, men and women can own the two sides, the two energies,
Yes.
the feminine and the masculine, and
Yep.
then they can present a different time, a different aspect. Because sometimes men could be very masculine, but they
Hmm.
also might need to relax a little and have the
Hmm.
woman make some decisions. And so it's not about stereotyping, it's about owning
Balance.
all the parts of us.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, balance, balance, and
yeah,
realizing that there's a gift in all of it. And again, but that also, Sylvia, and you'll agree with this. It comes with self-awareness, comes with really cultivating, knowing who you are, knowing what you want and why. Why? I mean, I've been sitting down writing what I like about myself and what I want out of life, and this since I was like 24 years old. But it's about cultivating that, because then when you know who you are more empowered, and you feel power over just being authentic and being who you are.
yeah. And for women, like I talk about being the beauty, but for
Mhm.
men, it's about being the power, because
Yes,
maybe
yes.
it's not about so much beauty, but it's about being the power, not trying to
Mhm,
do
mhm.
power by being tough.
Yeah,
Being
yes,
power
girl.
could show vulnerable
Yeah,
and is still powerful. So there's
yes.
a lot for everybody to get empowered through these conversations, not just women,
Yeah.
it's just for men
Right.
too.
I have a lot
Yeah,
of men on here, girl. I have a lot of men on here.
you
Yeah.
do. Well,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
wonderful. And it's
Yeah.
so amazing that they show up to, learn more and to
Yeah.
become more.
And
Hmm.
share, and they're sharing their empowerment just like you are today. They're sharing their empowered way of being and how they inspire others, as well. I mean, so it's just
Yeah,
empowered
that's so amazing.
conversations. Yeah. So I want to hear about your book. I know you've co-authored that recent book, and I want to put a link to that. It's out, right?
Yes, we have.
The book that you
I collaborated in two books. One of them,
Yes.
we are 14 women, and we share stories of true power. So the book is Your True Power,
Mhm.
the key to your amazing life, and that was released in 2020, and
Mhm.
we are now. Simon and Schuster just put that we are releasing the printed copy, because we had like an ebook for quite some time, and then there were
Right.
some situations because of 2020, and then things got delayed, so now we have the
Mhm.
book in print too. And the other book is about today's inspired Latina. So I was born in Argentina,
Uh-huh.
and I had an accident that got me not to be able to use my brain very well. And so during that period, I used a lot of my creativity, and
Mhm.
I missed opportunities. And, talking about the higher self
Mhm.
said, you're not going to find those jobs because your future is somewhere else. So during that period that I lost the opportunity to find a good job, I ended up doing neurolinguistic programming, and
NLP.
NLP, yeah, many, many years ago. And one day I was doing an exercise where you do, this visualization. And so I
Mhm.
visualized working in a place and blah, blah, blah. And I was working as a physical therapist. And the following week, a classmate came with an advertisement that a recruiter went to Argentina to bring physical therapists to the US. And I did the interview, and the rest is history, because I came, I was sponsored, I got a job. And the story is mostly, I didn't have like a big trauma in my life.
Mhm.
I had micro traumas of things that were
Mhm.
not going okay. So I, life is not a competition. We each have a different
Nope.
story. But I always tell people I didn't have a very traumatic story, but I did have some many micro moments that allowed me to make specific choices. And then I am where I am because of those choices. And one of those
Yes.
choices was to really come to the US, not knowing anybody,
Yeah.
just creating a life that is more than fabulous. and I am
Mhm.
extremely grateful. And in the book, I just share how I made it here, and that's the story. So those are
I
the two.
love that. And what was the name of the second book again?
Today's inspired Latina, and
Today's Inspired Latina.
I am in volume 7. There's like 10. The woman who created these books, she is amazing. She has a
Mhm.
business with creating all these books. Then she has Today's Inspired Latina, Young Inspired Latina. Now she's writing a book of women in aviation because she herself is a pilot.
Oh,
And so she has done so much with also her story. She has created a business that is in service. So I
yes.
am all about having those micro moments in our lives and
Mhm.
acknowledging them, because sometimes somebody might be listening to us and say, I really don't have a story, I really don't have anything to say.
Everybody has got a story.
Everybody has a story. So, what are the micro moments that shaped you, that made you
Mhm.
choose what you did to become who you are today? And can we all please say, wow, I
Yeah.
made it. I am
Yeah.
here. I'm worthy. My story has value, and somebody can
Yes.
listen to it. So that's what I would like people just to say, to think, to acknowledge. And some people go in the world and do big things, but some other people, what's a big thing too? Is like when you cook dinner for your family and you put all the
Mhm.
love, and then you're taking care of a
Mhm.
home that is functioning. So not everybody has to, go and ride a horse, or, pilot a plane, or do something so super fabulous, because we all
Right.
have a place in this world. Our place is valuable.
Yes. Yes, 100%, Sylvia, 100%. And I love how you say that everybody, regardless of what you're doing. Maybe you're supposed to be an accountant. Great. But you know, you never know whose life you could be impacting. You
Yes.
just never know. And you are. Everybody is impacting someone.
And I look at all these stories, like, for example, sometimes, I just get, before going to bed, I just go through Facebook to see stories and videos. And it might be somebody who is delivering UPS and has
Mhm.
a treat for each dog on each home that they deliver to. And you see those
Mhm.
stories, and for that dog, they made a friend that is outside of the house, and they might be
Absolutely.
waiting. So who says that we are not impacting? We're always impacting, like you said. It doesn't matter what we do,
Yes.
but we have to choose consciously how we show up.
Yes. Yes. And choose consciously who you allow, in your field of space.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
sometimes
yeah.
we become victims of something that happens, and then we do not acknowledge the power that we have to write the story we're living every day. So every day, every morning, you write a new chapter in your book, the book of your life. So what are you inviting, and what are you choosing?
There is this girl on Instagram, her name is Destiny Marie. She is I just love her, and she comes on and she speaks, like, in a microphone, and she's all about empowerment, and, I shared her. This was so amazing. I can't find it. I must have shared it on Facebook, but not Instagram. But she talks about how if I choose you, like, we don't choose people, we choose energy. And if I'm choosing your energy has the ability to either affect me or infect me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and yeah, and my Facebook is filled with posts, so it'd take me an hour to find it. Um, But yeah, it's Destiny Marie Marcus, I believe is her. Oh, here it is. Oh my God, here it is. What I want you to know is, hold on. We don't choose people, we choose energy. So when I choose to be around you, I give your energy permission to affect me. Now the question becomes, is your energy affecting me or infecting me? And then she's like, she gives that look like, yeah, yeah, Destiny Marie Marcus. She's fabulous.
Yeah, and sometimes we cannot separate from
Right.
people that might be infecting us, but the choice
Like,
is,
because they're family or, yeah.
yeah, or in job situation, or
Hmm.
you need to interact because it's kind of mandatory, and it's just probably in your destiny that you need to
Mm.
learn how to set your boundaries. So
Yes. Yep.
are you allowing that energy just to be around you, or are you
Hmm.
allowing that to get inside of you? Because
Hmm.
the infection is when you allow something inside of you that is not beneficial to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we can be in the middle of everything, but still know how to not get infected.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that could be the lesson with having to deal with that specific person. And again, like, I mentioned about what the bleep do we know? Maybe there's a lesson you haven't yet learned, which is why you've attracted that same energy. In that infinite world of, or world of infinite possibilities. Why does this keep showing up? Well, because it's there for a reason. Because you're either supposed to remove yourself or figure out why. What about yourself? What about you is resonating with that vibe and attracting that same vibe that you don't want in your life?
Yeah, what I like about that
Yeah.
movie is how it explains the addiction that we have to the energies, and it becomes
Yes.
not just energetic; it becomes physiological. It's like the
Hmm.
cells in the body are so used to the neurotransmitters of each emotion that
Hmm.
sometimes breaking those addictions can be
Hmm.
challenging, but it's
Yeah.
doable.
Oh, yeah.
So when we are being infected,
Hmm.
most of the time we have like a permission that might be even physiological
Hmm.
to get
Hmm.
triggered and just have that emotion, and
Hmm.
that those neurotransmitters could be sometimes very difficult to switch and change and become addicted to something else. Many people are addicted to the pain body because they
Ooh.
have experienced drama all their lives, right? So the
We've
challenge is,
read so much of the same shit. We've read so much of the same stuff.
so what
Go ahead.
about being inspired to get addicted to the happy body? Can we do that, happy body, instead of
Thank you.
yeah?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, and you can be addicted to that. I was talking to one of my best guy friends today who was in a motorcycle accident in August of 2019. He wound up losing half of one of his feet. And this guy was told, like, oh, you're going to have trouble walking, or either you're never going to walk again. He goes, oh, by God, he made his own steel rails and he did his own type of rehab. Like, this guy has the fortuitive attitude of, by God, I'm going to experience happiness and joy. I don't give a fuck. And I admire, his name is Eric Jameson. He's one of my best friends. And it's just like, he just has this, like his antenna, like I often talk about, like my antenna are like seeking joy. My radio dial is seeking joy. Well, that's the same with Eric. And it sounds like the same with you. It's like you're always looking for it. It doesn't mean that your life is perfect and 100% blissful fabulousness at all times. But when you again, you get what you're looking for, you receive what you focus on. And when you're focusing on more of like what is going to bring me pleasure, what's going to bring joy, what's going to bring happiness, you're going to receive so much more of it, regardless of what you go through. He's lost half of his foot, I think it's his left foot, and he wears a prosthetic. And he's like, Stephanie, I'm back to doing this and this for work. I'm back to doing that and that for work. We went to the beach. We were in Florida, before Hurricane Ian came. And it's just like, and I'm just like, I admire and respect you so much because you could have laid down. You could have felt sorry for yourself. And you're like, and I have another friend who was in a bad motorcycle accident, was told he would never walk again, and he walks. And he's a Jeep guy. It's just like, I need to have both of them on Empowered Conversation.
And you know what I find interesting with what you say? I worked many years as a physical therapist,
Hmm.
and one of the things that I notice is that sometimes people define themselves by their disease. It's like,
Oh yeah, pain body. Hmm.
yeah. So I used to tell people, your body is just part of you.
Hmm.
You're not your body. So when you talk about this person who lost the foot, the foot is just part of their body. It's not that
Hmm.
they are the foot and then everything has to change for the worse. So when
Hmm.
I used to work with my patients that were undergoing hip and knee replacement surgery,
Hmm.
I would see that some people, they were so busy they just needed to have the surgery. I work with this fabulous doctor that did outpatient for hip and knee replacement, and I'm talking from like 12 years ago or more.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
people did not go to the hospital and didn't stay, so they would fly from all over the world. So we would have people coming every weekend, and I would see them in their hotels. Some of them would come with their own planes, and it was just like a clientele that was always busy on the go. So they would get better so fast. They would come and see this doctor because they were busy. They had no time to be sick. And
Right.
then I could see other people that the whole life was, I am my knee or I am my hip, and I
Yeah.
am all the trauma that is there because
Yeah.
emotionally they didn't have a way to process their emotions. So then
Hmm.
they lived everything through the disease in the body, and it would
Hmm.
take them forever to get better. It would be like months before
Yeah.
they could do anything. And some
Yeah.
of the other people, 2 days later, they were just jumping in a plane and going back home because they were already walking without a cane or anything.
Oh
So,
yeah.
um, so what do we do of ourselves? Who are we? Are we the part of the body, or are we these frequency, this energy that is so expansive that we are, everywhere because we are
Right.
expanded? And then we just try to make us so finite, so minuscule, and we are
Hmm.
just that disease. And we don't
Yeah.
allow the healing when we are set in that way. Now, when we
Right.
are set in the way that I am a being that has a body, that a part
Hmm.
of the body just got sick, but the body has so much wisdom that
Yep.
it will heal by itself.
Uh-huh.
So then the story is different. So, what story are we
Hmm.
choosing to say about ourselves?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the other
Yes. Yes.
question.
Yes. 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 And I can use an example with my own mother and father. So my daddy is 76, and he just went ziplining. Zipline. You know what ziplining is? Yeah, you know
Wow.
what zip.
Yes.
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 And he's like looking at the camera. I did a post about it a couple weeks ago, and He's always jogged, he's always worked out, he's always been very active, like, in the community and just always been this just, always taken charge of his health, and I'm so thankful for that because, like, I think that's why I am so expansive in the way in which I eat and vegetables and, because I grew up being made to eat the vegetables, but see, my mother on the other complete opposite side, she still identifies as that little girl who was verbally abused by the people that were caring for her and told her that she would never be part of the family, that she was nothing before they shipped her off to an orphanage, took in her older sisters because she could do more work around the house. So my mama, regardless of, the empowerment and the inspiration that, or the worth, and those are cliche. Okay, so like the worth and the value that my whole entire family has tried to instill in her, realizing the queen, the beautiful, the amazing, just, you know, amazing human being that she is. She's always been in her head. Like even today, she'll talk about the things that Waldo Stone said to her in abuse. And it's like, Mama, that's not who you are. Waldo was hurt by her husband and she took it out on you. But she's still, it's still that subconscious program, those neurons that are firing and wiring together. And it's like, so, but she constantly falls. She's had knee operations, feet operations. She's always had like ailment after ailment after ailment after ailment. And what you're talking about, the pain body, and but that's her way of like subconsciously dealing with the trauma that she still has playing in her head from that 8, 9-year-old little girl. And we can see that, all we are aware of, but if she's not aware, then she's going to keep repeating the need for surgery, the need for going to the doctor, the need for, and daddy's, and she's a year older than my daddy, and he's going ziplining and he's able to do things, and it's just,
And
yeah.
what happens is that the doctor becomes the validator of their
Yep.
pain. So somebody can acknowledge it. So if I let go of that disease or that need
Mhm.
to see the doctor, it's almost like I forgot about who I am because I define myself as whatever happened to me.
Right.
I got to see that all the time. And that's one of the reasons I
Mhm.
became a life coach, because
Yeah.
I would go and see people and say, why some people get better and some others don't? Some
Mhm.
others don't. They don't. And that curiosity led me to study different modalities and become a life
Mhm.
coach, because it's just incredible to see how those emotions that haven't been processed are the cause of the pain that people suffer. And we
Yes.
need to also be very compassionate, because right
Yeah.
now everything is available to us. But
Mhm.
people our parents' age, they didn't have those
Right.
resources.
Right.
So that's where they do the best they could,
Right.
right? And then
Mama was a good mother. My mother was a wonderful, loving mother, just not to
yeah.
herself. Just not to herself, you know.
And that's how we can hold space for people who, at this moment, they are not able to choose more consciousness because they just can't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they are not choosing it. So I used to have a teacher that used to say, you are my friend, and I will not avoid that you fall. But when you go into that deep hole, I'm going to be holding your hand
Right.
so you don't hurt so much.
Yeah.
So, can we be
That's
that for people who cannot choose something different today? And that is
right.
also empowering them to walk the path that they are choosing, and for us to be the support they are needing from us and not the support we think we should be for them.
Right, and you're right, and I'm guilty of wanting so much for my mother to see her worth and value that, you know, it's so close to home that I'm not with her like I am with my coaching clients. I'm more, grace and ease with my coaching clients as opposed to, "Mama, how can you not see how I'm at," and so, I'm guilty of that as well.
Yeah, I think we all are, and we all have been with one person or another.
Yeah.
because we get challenged all the time when we want something more for people who are not willing to choose it. Myself, working as a physical therapist, I got in many situations where I wanted for my patients more
Mhm.
than they wanted for themselves.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
what happened? I got fired.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want
I
to,
can
you want me to get better? Well, don't come anymore.
right. Yeah. Well, girl, this has been amazing. I
Yes,
want to put links in under each because we are live via my personal Facebook page, my DFLNY group, as well as YouTube. And I want to put links to your books. And you have a website? Do you have a website?
yes, I do. I do
Okay,
too.
so people can get a hold of you, work with you, and you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing.
Well,
Thank you
thank you
so
for
much
the
for.
opportunity. So are you. I mean, you are
Thank
so
you.
multi-talented, and offering
Thank you.
this space is super, super fabulous. That's service. So I acknowledge you for that.
Thank you very much.
So,
Well, guys, thank you for those that had joined us today on Empowered Conversations. We didn't have any comments today, but I did see people popping on throughout the broadcast. And if you are watching this on the replay, tell us what you think. I have a girl, Elizabeth Hanlon, who always comes back and watches on the replay, and she just starts commenting and stuff. She's fabulous. I need to have her on here. She is wonderful. Um, but anyway, guys, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Sylvia, you stay right here. I'm just going to end the broadcast, and we're going to provide you every way in which you can get a hold of Silvia Rios and work with her and read her fabulous books. All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day and week.